Welcome to The Grind, your inside look at Raging Cajun baseball. I'm your host, Craig Larner. All right, let's take a look back at what the Cajuns did last week and last weekend in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Of course, it was here at Russo Park at the Teague, and the Cajuns had the choice to open up in the afternoon on Wednesday or in the evening. They chose the evening for obvious heat reasons, but of course, that didn't work out as the Cajuns would play at, I think they started around after 8 o'clock at some point. They played into the night. It was a long game, 8-7 in the fourth inning, and then the lightning hits. And it was the impotent lightning delay that sent us into the night and into the next day. The game would be resumed 8:30 in the morning, so it was a long night into an early morning for the Cajuns. Their bats stayed awake though throughout the entire night. They woke up right on time for the Cajuns to win a 19-16 slugfest over Little Rock in Game 1, but after that it just seemed like the bats were tired. They fell asleep. They lost to Troy 10-1, and then they were eliminated on Friday night against Texas State 11-1. So the Cajun season ended in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Obviously, some of the thought was that, hey, look, the Cajuns needed to get themselves into the championship game at the very least against Coastal Carolina. Didn't happen. They finished the season 34-25, second straight year not making the NCAA tournament. A little bit of a disappointment for this Cajun program that has grown itself to come accustomed to getting into a regional. Won't be there this year. Now, looking back on the season as a whole, rough waters in the beginning, able to right the ship after that gut-wrenching loss to Southern Mississippi. They come right back to get the win the next night. They go 21-7 the rest of the way. They finish second in the West, or finished first in the Western Division, second overall in the Sun Belt. So a good finish after an inauspicious start. So this Cajun season was a little bit up and down. Good finish, but not enough in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. All right, let's take a look at your grinder of the year. And now, of course, there's many different ways I could go with this. So I'm going to give you a couple quick honorable mentions before we get to the big-time grinder of the year. You can look at a guy like Cole McKinnon, who some say maybe the MVP of this season. Didn't hit a lot, but played great defense and also commanded the pitching staff very, very well. Daniel LaHare, a guy who that might have been cut out of the fall or just wasn't even on the radar for the coaching staff, is what Coach Babineau told us, that this is a guy who they didn't even really think would even factor into the season. He gets his way into the lineup and continues to work while he waited. Ended up leading the team in hitting this year and was a staple at the top of that order all season long. And one final one I want to make mention of is young shortstop Hayden Cantrell. This kid came in and Coach Robe said he would play above his chronological age, and he sure did that. He finished the season super hot, and he ended up getting up into the leadoff spot for the Cajuns and was a staple there towards the end of the year. But our grinder of the year, I think there's no surprise, it's got to go to Colton Schmidt. He was the Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year. He pitched to a 7-0 record, didn't lose it all this year, a 2.45 sparkling ERA, and I think this is the most impressive part, 90 strikeouts to only 9 walks. That's right, you heard me right, 90 strikeouts to only 9 walks. Real good job of commanding all of his pitches, staying in his lane, and pitching effectively to these batters and continuing to stay in a rhythm. And he was just dominant all season long. So our grinder of the year, Colton Schmidt. All right, now I want to finish our final grind up by talking about the seniors, making special mention of a couple of guys that are going to be graduating and are not going to be with the program anymore, and just thank them for putting their blood, sweat, and tears on every single game and every single practice throughout their time here at UL. Of course, we've got Kenan Fontenot, guy who was a utility man, played all over the place for Coach Robe in this program, very vital to everything that they were trying to do. Logan Stokey, a guy who started off as an outfielder, transitioned to a pitcher, ended up being a dominant closer this year for the Cajuns. Dylan Moore, a guy who was an All-American multiple times and going to law school in Texas, so congratulations, Dylan, and much success at Texas Law School. Don't become too much of a Longhorn. We're still Cajun through and through. We also got Colton Schmidt, who we mentioned, Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year. Zach LaFleur, a guy who obviously was a big-time grinder for this program, just did anything and everything that they needed and ready to step into the limelight whenever somebody went down with injury. You've got Marco Ramos, who got his way onto the team this year and got some opportunity to play early in the season. Tyler Stover, a very good defensive first baseman, and of course, Jamarius Williams as well. Congratulations, guys, and good luck with whatever you do after baseball here at UL. And I just want to say thank you to all the fans who joined us here on the grind each and every week here on ESPN 1420. Just wanted to say a quick thank you, and I look forward to joining you again next year and bringing you the latest and inside information on everything Raging Cajun baseball.